Stand your ground didn't just come up like that. It's being copied from the United States.
So the Stand Your Ground law was one of the Prime Minister's big campaign promise. One of the promises made on the campaign that if she got elected, that this is something that she would want to bring forth, the Stand Your Ground law. And while the intentions might be good, I'm going to explain why this is not a good idea for Trinidad and Tobago. The Stand Your Ground law could be one of the worst legislation that the government could ever pass in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm going to break it down and tell you why. Stand Your Ground law is one of the most controversial law in North America in decades. In the past 40 years, Stand Your Ground law has been one of the most controversial law in North America. Every other country is staying away from this Stand Your Ground law, and I think that Trinidad and Tobago should do the same. This is not a road you want to go down. Any type of law that can be perceived as racially sensitive and a law that doesn't even help in terms of crime fighting is not a road that you want to go down. And this has been proven in America. It's been proven in Canada that this type of law does not work. When we had in America and also Canada that copied a program that the police officers used called carding, when they did that and after the research and they saw that over 80% of people that were carded, that were stopped by the police and perceived to be suspicious were black people, they had to get rid of that. And a lot of states in America, they are staying away from this Stand Your Ground because of the history behind it. So I don't think that this is a good road to go down. I understand with self-defense law, and in the Caribbean, there's example, like Jamaica is there. I know Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana would be like three of the places within CARICOM that would have where you can get a legal firearm, licensing for a legal firearm. And when you go for a license for a legal firearm, you're briefed on your rights, how to use that firearm. These countries have self-defense law that's already there. And it is commonplace in self-defense. If your life is threatened, you can use the force of weapon. If someone is breaking into your house, if someone is trying to steal your car and you feel like your life is in danger, you can use that weapon. And that is commonplace in any country that you can have a legal firearm. So it is better to amend the law in terms of self-defense law in Trinidad and Tobago or to give it a different name. But Stand Your Ground, the history of Stand Your Ground, that is not something that you'd want to do. And just in case people are wondering, what am I talking about, the history of Stand Your Ground? Let me just give you a little reminder of what Stand Your Ground law is in America.
The outcry is not going away at churches in Florida's black communities.
You got to change that Stand Your Ground law. That's a must.
If you don't like the law, then let's vote out the people put in Stand Your Ground.
Florida is taking a beating over its Stand Your Ground law. Grammy Award-winning entertainer Stevie Wonder adding to the chorus.
And until the Stand Your Ground law is abolished in Florida, I will never perform there again.
The Attorney General.
We must stand our ground to ensure that our laws reduce violence and take a hard look at laws that contribute to more violence than they prevent.
There may be good reason for the outrage. The Tampa Bay Times newspaper took an exhaustive look at Stand Your Ground, a law that says if you're in fear for your life, you have no duty to retreat and can meet force with force. Between 2005, when the law was enacted, and 2012, the newspaper found nearly 200 cases. Some of their findings bring into question whether justice was doled out evenly. Chris Davis is the paper's investigative editor.
The race of the victims seemed to be a difference maker.
In Stand Your Ground cases, regardless the race of the person claiming Stand Your Ground, the paper found 73% of those who killed a black person faced no penalty.
Yes, so that is just a brief history of what happened with the Stand Your Ground law. And if you want to know more, trust me, there's a lot of information on the internet. There are a lot of videos on the internet that people are talking about this stand your ground law and how Americans are not happy with it, especially African Americans. And I believe that some people in Trinidad and Tobago really don't understand the danger of this. And I saw a video with someone talking about how, yes, this is a good idea. And obviously, this man don't know anything about the stand your ground law, anything about the history. If he knew, I don't think he would be advocating for it the way he is. So let's take a look.
Don't let Rowley and his functioning illiterate members and supporters deceive you all. The stand your ground law wouldn't enable or empower anyone to shoot a man who trying to thief your mango. Some piper, some neighbor, somebody who jump in your yard to thief a mango. That's not what the law would allow. It's for the armed criminals who entering your home, trying to break into your house to harm you and your family. Those are the ones you can defend yourself against. Those are the ones that you can empty the clip, as Kamala said. Because they're armed and dangerous, and they are posing a threat to you and your family. So don't be deceived. And the media knows that. And the police service knows that. But they wouldn't tell you all the truth because they don't want citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to have the rights to bear arms, to protect themselves and their families. That's why they will continue to allow Rowley and this bunch of criminals to lie to the public. Right? No one is trying to promote killing somebody, some piper who trying to thief a mango, Rowley. Do you actually wake up and tell yourself, I'm going to speak that bunch of bull every day, boy?
Okay, so what this gentleman was explaining is a basic self-defense law, and that is commonplace. As I said, that would be commonplace in Jamaica. I'm sure it's commonplace in Guyana, and it should be commonplace in Trinidad and Tobago. If not, then upgrade the self-defense laws in Trinidad and Tobago, because it's common. If someone is coming into your house and your family and yourself, you feel like you're in danger, you have a right to use that firearm. If you're driving a car and someone pull you out of your car and try to steal your car, you have a right to use that deadly force. What he spoke about this law is not like someone coming to thief mango or whatever and you use it on it. Yes, the stand your ground law have a history of that. And perfect example, the Trayvon Martin case. Trayvon Martin wasn't breaking into anyone's house. Trayvon Martin was walking back from the supermarket and perceived as a threat just by walking through a community. And he's not here today. There are numerous of cases in America. There's a case after Trayvon Martin where a young black man was jogging in a community. That is something that we do. Like if you're concerned about health and wellness, you go for a run in the morning. And this young man was in his jogging suit, jogging through the streets, and he was taken out by 3 men. And they said, like, look, we were in fear of our life. So that is the danger of the stand your ground law. And as I said, like, I'm not opposed to self-defense law. Self-defense law, as I said, it's all over the region already. If there's something wrong with the self-defense law in Trinidad and Tobago, amend it. But stay away from stand your ground. The history of it, trying to mess with stand your ground is trying to, just imagine someone in the Caribbean pass some type of legislation and they call it apartheid. Just imagine that. Oh, we're going to pass an apartheid legislation in somewhere in the Caribbean. How would that look? This is what stand your ground represent to a lot of people that are black or visible minority. So Trinidad, stay away from stand your ground. Name it something else. Amend the self-defense law in Trinidad, but stay away from stand your ground. And one of the top things on the CARICOM agenda is how to keep illegal firearms from coming into the Caribbean, how to keep the Caribbean Sea clear from these illegal weapons coming into the Caribbean, that is something that is on top of every leader in the Caribbean, on top of their minds. And we have enough data in the Caribbean, in particular in Jamaica, because Jamaica has been dealing with the level of crime and violence that you see in Trinidad and Tobago, probably 30 years before Trinidad and Tobago started experiencing it. So Jamaica would have enough data to know that, look, as one of the first places in the region that had legal firearms in Jamaica, and the numbers show in Jamaica that people with legal firearms are not safer than anyone else. They're not safe. Sometimes having a legal firearm can be more danger. And those numbers are there to show in Jamaica that with people, firearm holders in Jamaica, sometimes just having it is a risk, because if people find out that you have it, there are a lot of these gangsters that they will come and get it, and they're not leaving you. So that is something else that need to be considered. And when you look at all the top countries in the world in terms of the safest countries in the world, none of these countries have these type of laws. And most of the safest countries in the world, what they do, how they get their safety is through policing and to keep their borders safe. So use that money, tighten up the borders, get technology in the police force or something, CC cameras all over, but like more firearms in Trinidad is not going to solve the problem. And as I said, I'm not opposed to people owning a firearm. I personally don't like it because, you know, as I said, growing up in Jamaica, I know the threat of having a legal firearm. That is one thing. If you have a legal firearm and someone see it, you know, this is what people tell you. You have a legal firearm and someone sees it. When that person is seeing that firearm, that means that you're using it. No one should know that you have a firearm, a legal firearm, until you are about to use it. And that is what a lot of legal firearm holders in Jamaica will tell you. And it's not something that you walk around with like the Wild Wild West and expose to everyone, because as I said, someone will come and get it. So those are just my thoughts. I don't know, you know, how you feel about this stand your ground law, but sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Are you opposed to Trinidad and Tobago stand your ground law? Do you believe that the Prime Minister should just amend the self-defense law that will give people the right, people with legal firearm holders, the right to protect themselves if they're in danger? That can be accomplished without calling it a stand your ground law. That is my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.